Now it begins with Donald Trump back in power. The devil knows his time is short, and Antichrist Trump is moving fast and furious to move this world toward his one world kingdom. Trump knows his time is short. We can expect him to make grand gestures toward expanding the boundaries of his domain and to do it quickly, very quickly. The Bible says, a little horn which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. Daniel 8:9. And the pleasant land, of course, is the land of Israel, the land of milk and honey, the promised land, the beautiful land. For those who mistakenly think the Antichrist arises out of Israel, as some do, here's your proof in this verse. The Antichrist does not arise out of the land of Israel, because it says he grows in power, waxes great, not only southward and eastward, but also toward the land of Israel. He cannot be from Israel if he expands his kingdom toward Israel. No, he is from the west, the isles of the Gentiles. First, the Antichrist moves toward the south. Antichrist Trump is now justifying moving U.S. forces southward across the southern border into Mexico to wage a war on the cartels. He is sending more troops to the border, building up forces there, and making the case that the cartels are an enemy, worse than Osama bin Laden, who only killed thousands of Americans. The Mexican drug cartels are killing hundreds of thousands of Americans with their illegal and deadly drug trafficking. So this looks good. Trump is waging a new war into Mexico to stop the killing of young people who are dying from these horrible drugs. These wars that expand Trump's power will be justified by Trump, and reasons may be given that sound very reasonable. But Trump will never give up what he takes. He will lay claim to new territory as he uses U.S. forces to expand his world empire. Here's a news report this week. Trump administration officials are considering deploying 10,000 soldiers to the U.S.-Mexico border, according to an internal government memo. In an executive action Trump signed upon taking office on Monday, he declared a national emergency along the southern border and ordered the Defense Department to provide troops and resources to support the activities of the Secretary of Homeland Security. On Wednesday, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reporters that the president had signed another executive order to immediately deploy 1,500 troops to the southern border, where 2,500 soldiers are already stationed under federal orders. The 1,500 troop deployment will involve dispatching 1,000 Army personnel and 500 Marines, as well as helicopters, to the California and Texas border. Texas and other states have also deployed National Guard soldiers to the border. But the internal Customs and Border Protection memo dated January 21st indicates 10,000 soldiers being sent to help the agency's mission at the southern border. The Trump administration, according to this internal document, has submitted an unrestrained request for the Pentagon to surge resources and personnel to the southern border. So we are hearing 1,500 additional troops, but the U.S. Border Protection memo calls for 10,000 additional troops beside the 2,500 U.S. troops already deployed there, besides the National Guard troops also being deployed there. So a massive U.S. troop buildup at the Mexican border is in the works, and a war to be waged inside Mexico is promised, as the cartels are now being identified as terrorist organizations by another executive order, which Trump signed on Monday after taking office. U.S. troops are going to invade Mexico and fight this war inside Mexico, much to the chagrin of the Mexican government. Mexico will not send its troops against the U.S. military. This war will obliterate and eliminate Mexico's sovereignty as an independent nation. The Antichrist expands his empire toward the south. The Panama Canal will be reclaimed by Antichrist Trump, and Panama will be taken. That is only the beginning in Central and South America. And then, toward the east, Greenland will be acquired from Denmark, one way or the other. That is only the beginning, as Trump sets his gaze on all the NATO countries. And then, toward the pleasant land, the ultimate prize for the dragon and the beast, the land of the Christ. Now, I've received many comments from our viewers asking me to comment on two very telling occurrences this week. One being the fact that Donald Trump did not place his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in, and the other being the fact that Elon Musk gave a defiant Nazi salute to Trump during a Trump rally that took place Monday after the swearing-in ceremony. As for Elon Musk's Nazi salute, I think that really speaks for itself. It was the Roman salute that was given to the Caesars, which was adopted by the Italians to salute Mussolini, and it was then adopted by the Nazis to salute Hitler. It's clearly a fascist salute given to absolutist rulers. Elon Musk loves to do things that shock and awe the crowd. He is a showman himself, just like the Antichrist that he emulates. Here's what Musk said just as he made that salute to his Führer, Donald Trump. Quote, "It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured." Some will say he was speaking to Trump. Others will say he was speaking to the Trump rally crowd that voted Trump into office. Either way you look at it, Musk is saying that it is the election of Donald Trump that secures future civilization. I watched as a reporter asked a lady in that crowd what she would like to say to Donald Trump. She was wearing the red MAGA cap and seemed to be in tears as the crowd around her was exultant over glorification of Trump. She said, quote, "I would like to say to Trump, thank you for giving up your life for ours." This woman wanted to give thanks to her Messiah for giving up his life to save her. Now, as for the fact that Trump did not place his hand on the Bible, that fact is clear. Trump definitely did not put his hand on the two Bibles that his wife Melania was holding beside him. Some people blamed Melania for getting in place too late, so that Trump had already raised his right hand to take the oath before Melania stepped up with the two Bibles. Other people blamed Justice John Roberts, who seemed to start administering the oath too quickly. I want to say more about Justice Roberts, but first let me say this. Even if Melania got there a bit late, and even if Justice Roberts was a bit fast, Trump had every opportunity to place his hand on those Bibles when Melania stepped up. But Trump chose to take the oath of office without placing his hand on the Bible. Now, here's a side note about Justice John Roberts. Some things are almost totally ignored by the news media. But I'm very thankful for the few news outlets that did report what John Roberts had to say just 3 weeks before Trump was inaugurated this past Monday. Here's a report from Reuters dated December 31st, just this past New Year's Eve. U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts is warning about a rising number of threats to the judiciary's independence, including dangerous suggestions by elected officials to disregard court rulings they disagree with. Roberts' statements come just 3 weeks before Donald Trump took office. Roberts highlighted instances in which, quote, elected officials have open disregard for federal court rulings. Now, many of you may recall that during Trump's first term of office, Justice Roberts warned about Trump's disrespect for judicial rulings that Trump disagreed with then. Here's a news report from 2018. In a highly unusual public statement, Chief Justice John Roberts rebutted President Donald Trump's statement that a ruling against the administration was made by, quote, an Obama judge. Asked by the Associated Press about the president's comment, Roberts responded, "We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges. What we have is judges doing their level best to do right by those appearing before them. I do not criticize the other branches of government. The judicial branch of government interprets the Constitution and laws of the United States and ensures that the executive and legislative branches act within them." Now, Justice Roberts knew then, and he knows now, what all honest people know very well. Donald Trump will accept a court ruling when it goes his way, and he will praise that judgment and that court and that judge. But when a court ruling goes against what he wants, Trump will vilify the court and the judge, and he will say the ruling is unfair and should not stand. Notice that on day one of his new administration, a portrait of Andrew Jackson was returned to its place next to Trump's desk in his Oval Office, where it was during his first term of office. That portrait is a statement about a president who simply disregarded and ignored Supreme Court rulings that he did not like. Now, Andrew Jackson may have done some very good things in his day. We live here in the heart of Old Hickory country, not far from the Hermitage and Old Hickory Lake and all the history surrounding Andrew Jackson. But Jackson is well remembered as a hardwood president who did not respect the checks and balances of the U.S. Constitution. When the U.S. Supreme Court ruled contrary to Andrew Jackson, he simply ignored the high court and went on to do as he pleased. The Supreme Court cannot enforce its own rulings. It depends on the executive branch and the President of the United States to uphold its decisions. So Trump is sending a message here to the Supreme Court, a clear message. Now, right out of the gate, Trump has signed some executive orders that are being challenged as unconstitutional. One of the most glaring examples is his executive order to eliminate birthright citizenship. Trump wants to end the constitutional 14th Amendment right that guarantees a child born in the USA that it will be given citizenship, no matter the status of its parents. The 14th Amendment grants citizenship to all persons born in the United States. Trump's executive order is being challenged in the courts by 22 state governments. The plaintiffs say this in their lawsuit, quote, "The president has no authority to rewrite or nullify a constitutional amendment or duly enacted statute, nor is he empowered by any other source of law to limit who receives United States citizenship at birth. Now, Trump's executive order directed federal agencies starting next month in February to stop issuing citizenship documents to U.S.-born children of undocumented mothers or mothers in the country on temporary visas if the father is not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Trump's executive order purports to unilaterally end birthright citizenship. But only the U.S. Supreme Court can determine how the 14th Amendment applies. The 22 states are seeking to invalidate Trump's executive order and stop any actions taken to implement it. Their lawsuit requests a preliminary injunction to immediately prevent that executive order from taking effect. Now, this is my take. Trump and his cronies coming into power, they know that many of these executive orders are going to be challenged as unconstitutional and that it will be finally decided by the Supreme Court. They've been planning this all along. All is laid out in Project 2025. All is laid out and examined by Trump's team of lawyers who are ready to take it to the courts. And when the Supreme Court tries to draw a line in the sand and stop Trump from doing as he pleases, Trump will just dig in like Andrew Jackson, and he will ignore any decisions that he doesn't like. And getting back to the swearing-in ceremony and Trump not placing his hand on the Bible, I think Justice Roberts had the unpleasant duty of giving the oath of office to Donald Trump, knowing full well that Trump has no respect for any law of man or any law of God, and knowing full well that Trump does not mean to keep any oath or be true to any law. So I think the Chief Justice just got it over with as quick as possible, not caring at all to see Trump put his hand on a Bible. The man of sin is the lawless one. Bible or no Bible, Trump does not mean to keep any oath or any pledge to God or to man. But brothers and sisters, we know the Word of God is supreme above all. In His loving kindness, the Lord has warned us about things to come in His holy book, in Bible prophecy, in the scriptures that we read day by day. The devil's time is short, and Trump's time is short. But our time is now and forever. We are the sons and daughters of God, and His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom.